In this episode, we are discussing how to be louder, prouder, and bolder about the brilliance that you bring to the table. That's right. It is time to put the humble pie down and finally make a name for yourself if you haven't yet, or to make an even bigger name for yourself, an even bolder name for yourself. Whatever it is, if you are playing small in any way, shape, or form, it ends today. It ends right now because life is short. We have money and an impact to make, and we aren't going to make it by dimming our lights. Let's get into it. Welcome to All In With Allie, the podcast for online business owners and entrepreneurs who are ready to create the life and business of their dreams. I am so happy you are here. Happy New Year. Happy 2025. I feel relieved. I know that it's tricky and I guess maybe not the smartest idea to claim how excited you are about a year, but I think that's BS. I've reflected on this a lot, and I've talked about this. I've talked about it many, many times about how it's my best years that I've ever had, where I went into it being so optimistic and really just taking control of the narrative and taking control of my own destiny. Obviously, there's only so much that we can control, but I know for a fact, we don't realize how much control we do have when it comes to the power of our mind and the power of our expectations. And when we go into a new year, a new week, a new day, a new moment, claiming and expecting the absolute best, that carries so much energy and so much power that I think it's by design that we don't even realize how powerful that is. So anybody who is thinking right now, oh, I don't want to, I don't want to be too loud. I don't want to claim what it is that I'm going to do, because what if it doesn't happen? What if I make a fool of myself? What if, I know in the States, it's so unfortunate, but literally January 1, we had 2 or 3 terrorist type activities happening. There was, a horrible incident in New Orleans, and then something really weird at the Trump Towers in, was that New York? I don't even know exactly where it was, where somebody blew up a Cybertruck. And then there was, I don't know, we don't have to get into it, but there was multiple things. And I realized that when obviously as adults, we want to be in tune with what's happening in our country, or of course, even around the world. We don't want to put our heads in the sand, but we also don't want to let that outside noise infiltrate too much when it comes to the world that we are creating, when it comes to our own personal experience, especially when it comes to our family and our businesses. So back to what I was saying, I realize sometimes it can feel scary to go into any new situation, but especially a new year, claiming and expecting the best, because what if it doesn't happen, right? Again, we don't want to make a fool of ourselves. And I've felt this way many times. There have been many times that I go on here to make a bold claim or a bold declaration, and then the second thought that comes up is, oh my gosh, what if people ask and this didn't happen? And at the end of the day, who cares, right? Is it that bad to have the audacity to expect the best? Is it that wrong? Or is it worse to tiptoe into a situation, downplay what you actually want to happen just to save face and to keep your ego protected? And if you think to yourself, well, I'd rather do that and then be surprised by a really good outcome. Okay. And sometimes that can happen, but the odds of that happening when you're downplaying it and you're not declaring what you want are really few and far between. It's not likely that you're going to overshoot a big goal when you're not talking about where you're not really going for it. There's so much power in the power of declaration. Actually, I will link an episode for you if you want to hear more about the energy that happens and the shift of energy that takes place on a scientific molecular level when you speak out loud your desires and when you make a bold decision and a bold declaration towards what it is that you want. So I will link that. So all of that to say, I personally am very excited about 2025. I have a really good feeling about it. And the past couple of years have been not my best in terms of results, but I've learned more in the past 2 years than I have in the whole of my business because of the challenges that I've faced, because of the situations that I found myself in, which weren't glamorous and exciting, but that's where the magic is. That's where the juice is. All of the lessons are in the difficulty, in the challenges. That's where you actually learn, right? So I just feel like I've been so prepped and prepared, and I'm walking into this year with so much wisdom, so much excitement, but also so bold about what it is that I'm here to do and to create and who I am here to serve. And I want to extend this same energy to you and invite you to do the same, because I've experienced what this can do for you. I've experienced what happens when you dare and have the audacity to own what a badass you are, right? It's the common thing to downplay what it is that you do. It's the common practice to say, okay, I'm not gonna be, I know I'm really good at this thing, but I don't want people to think that I'm full of myself. I don't want people to think that I have a big ego. I don't want people to, I don't want to oversell myself, because what if XYZ, some negative situation that probably won't even take place. So therefore you downplay yourself. But I don't know about you. But here's a little something about me. When I go to buy anything, or especially invest in anything when it comes to my business, I'm not looking for the humble, safe, maybe it's good, relatable, whatever thing. I'm looking for the best. This is actually almost a hang up of mine, because there's been people and positions in my business that I'm ready to hire for, that I'm ready to bring on support, because it's taking way too much of my time, way too much of my energy. And it's things that I have no business doing anymore. But what's holding me up is I'm not interested in hiring the maybe more affordable option or the more common option. I want the best, right? Like if I'm going to outsource marketing for something, I want the best person behind it. If I'm going to outsource graphics, I want the best graphic designer. I need to redo my Kajabi site. I want the best, and I see people who promote themselves. Like, let's talk about Kajabi experts, for example. This is a really good example. So I use Kajabi. That's my site. And that's essentially like my website. That's where I sell all my things and I host all my things. And it needs an upgrade really, really bad. It is not even close to reflective of who I am and my brand. And it hasn't been. And it's driving me insane. And I posted on my stories, I don't know, a few months ago, that I was looking for support with my Kajabi, and I put a question box and I said, pimp yourself out, or if you have suggestions. And I got some. And I will say this, there was one person, one business who does this, who slid in, and they did a really good job. They took charge and they were like, this is what we do. And they sent me like a slide deck, and it was beautiful. And I actually dropped the ball on that. I will be reaching out to them just to make sure that we're a better fit. But where I got hung up was I was so inundated with all of these suggestions, But when I would go to the person's site, right? Like, and what's funny is like all the other suggestions came from clients of the person that they were suggesting, right? So they were like, you should reach out to so-and-so. They're incredible. Reach out to so-and-so. So I would go and look at so-and-so's Instagram or site, and I was so disappointed with what I saw, right? Like what I saw was either branding or an image that simply wasn't in alignment with what I'm trying to create, which is fine. That's normal. Or an image that like you could tell was the energy of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Maybe they did like a myriad of other things and they maybe also did Kajabi, but you could tell that they weren't like all in on the Kajabi aspect. Not saying you can't offer other things, but it wasn't the energy of like, this is what we do. We can help you in this and this. It was in the energy of like, here are my hobbies. Here's what I like. Here's who I am. And also I kind of do Kajabi on the side. That was the energy of it. I'm not going to spend money and invest my, more than anything, time in like trying to get on the same page with somebody who does something as a hobby, So like there were so many examples of that, or so many examples of like people who like barely showed their work, and I had to like dig to find examples of their work. And it's like, wait. And it quite frankly overwhelmed me, and I just put it down. I was like, okay, I feel like I'm not feeling really drawn or led to anybody, but that's just an example, right? That's one example of like the way that I shop. And to me, I feel like I'm a dream client in so many ways, because I'm happy to pay money, right? Like I'm more interested. I would much rather invest higher amounts of money to save myself time and for quality work. This is why I love buying luxury, right? I love how it makes me feel. I want the experience. I want to feel good in the thing. I want to know that the thing will last me and will stand the test of time. I want, like when I hold it, when I'm around it, I value that experience over the experience of, oh, I got this for such a bargain. So I value the experience and the time over the money. But I got to feel it, right? Like I have to feel that from you. And I recently did a challenge in December called the Pulling Money from the Sky Challenge. And that whole challenge was around creating inspired high ticket offer ideas, right? Like think of like let's say like you randomly get an amazing idea for this high ticket opportunity that you want to put out into the world, and it's $10K and it's for 2 people, right? So like the whole idea is how to sell high ticket easily and well, and not only attract in that caliber of client to your business, which are so fun to have when you know that these people are in your world and they're like me and they value that experience. They value saving the time. They value the transformation over maybe the actual dollars that they're spending. Hence why they buy high ticket and they're happy to buy high ticket, but they're fun to have in your world. But also like it's a really good tool to have in your toolbox to know how to create high cash days and cash infusions in your business, right? It's really nice to know if you're in a pickle or you're in the mood to have a 20K day, you know how to do that and like you're confident. So anyway, I did Pulling Money from the Sky. It was absolutely incredible. And it's done, it's complete, it's available, and it's low ticket. So I will link that also in the show notes. One of the examples that I used in this was Saint Laurent, because I shared like right before I did Pulling Money, I was in Boston and I'd sauntered into a Saint Laurent store and randomly bought a pair of shoes that I was not planning on. I wasn't even in the mood to really buy anything, but the whole experience and the level of craftsmanship of this product, I couldn't help myself. And anyway, I use this example in the training in the challenge because the whole point is like, this is the goal here, right? Like you want to create a brand where the dream client, if she comes across you, she doesn't have to be in the mood to buy. She doesn't even necessarily be in the market for anything that you're offering right now. She just comes into your world and she cannot help herself. You two are a match, right? Like that is our goal. And that is what, like for me going in 2025, it is all about creating that experience and that brand for her, for the woman who is me, right? For the woman who she knows what she wants. She has her goals. She's focused and she understands the power of investing. That's what we want to do. So like when we're thinking about owning our brilliance, that's why we want to do it, right? Because imagine like if I had sauntered into Saint Laurent and they had like 2 products on the wall, so if you're familiar with YSL or Saint Laurent, they have a ton of different, they have handbags, they have small leather goods, they have jewelry, they have clothing, they have, a myriad of products and a lot of them. And they're all beautiful. But imagine if I walked in and there was like 2 and I walked in and I was like, hey, just wanted to see what you guys have going on. And the salesperson was like, oh, okay. Wow. You're here. Oh, amazing. Okay. Well, we make luxury products. They could be considered luxury. We're not the best, right? Like if you look at Cartier or if you look at Hermes, there's, they're probably like, they're priced higher than us. Their quality is better than us, but like we're still considered luxury, and like I could go on and on about why, but like we don't consider ourselves the best. We don't want to consider ourselves the best. We're humble, we just want to, we're chill. We're relatable, right? So like if you're feeling uncomfortable, don't. Like we're just like you. Let me show you all the ways that we're just like you. And let me tell you about all the mistakes that we make and whatever. But yeah, like here's a couple of things that we have. Here's our price point. But like, okay, I know it feels like a lot. Like imagine if that, like you walked into a store and that was the experience, you would be like, bro, number 1, stop talking to me. Like I'm not here to chat. Number 2, why are you saying so much? Like, why are you downplaying like, I would be so grossed out. Do you realize this is what we do on our Instagrams? This is what we do on our websites when we try so hard to be relatable, when we try so hard to downplay and not be loud and proud about what it is that we do, right? And when I say loud and proud, I don't mean like literally. I don't mean like you need to be constantly shouting it from the rooftops. I mean like let your work speak for itself, but also be proud of it. So when you walk into any of these luxury stores, it is minimal, right? Like what it's very clear what they're known for, but they proudly display their work. And if you ask the employee about any of the stuff, they know the exact color of the thing. They know how the thing was made, not that most people care. They have a level of pride in what it is that they're doing. And therefore people come in and rarely is a conversation on price. It's more of a conversation of, is this available and how soon can you package it up for me? Like I wasn't even planning on getting this, but I want this. That is what I want the energy to be in 2025 for all of us. But to get there, that you got to be bold, right? You have to know what it is that you do, what it is that you bring to the table, and present it and match that energy. Speaking of matching that energy, next week, I'm going to go a lot deeper into this. We're going to talk about the power of details, and we're going to go like deeper into the embodiment conversation, because when I tell you, that's where the magic is. When I tell you how you catch the whale, right? Like I talked a lot about the whale is like the dream client, the big dream client who wants to continually buy from you. Maybe she buys the highest ticket thing. She's just like that dream. She doesn't need to be sold to. She just knows you guys are a match. in the best way. How we catch her is we be a match to her. That's how you do it. It's not all of the content that you make, while like content can help, it's a deeper energy thing. So we'll talk about that next week. But for now, we want to be loud, right? We want to make a name for ourselves in the way that you want to be known. That's where it starts. You cannot embody something that you're not clear on what is yet. You cannot embody or be something if you're not even sure what it is that you are or what it is that you want to create. So let's get into it. Now, do I want to? Yeah. Okay. So I don't always do this, but you know how some people pick a word for the year? I've done this in the past. I haven't done it in the past couple of years. And I wasn't even going to do it this year. I think it's like a little silly in a lot of ways and a little boring, if I'm being fully honest with you. And then I don't know, it just kind of hit me like what mine is. And I was like, oh, that's it. That's 100% my word for the year. And why I think it's boring is because I feel like some people, they take it too literally and I don't know. I just think like it's kind of, you know what? I think it's boring. I think it's overdone. I just think like, who cares? Just like go do your job, be you. But this hit me and I'm like, okay, this is my word for the year. So it's not boring anymore. My word for the year for 2025 is big. That is my word for the year. That is the energy that I'm bringing. Big moves, big energy, big impact, big thinking, big goals, big. Why? Well, it all goes into exactly what we're talking about in this episode, because big equals big. Okay, the energy that you put out is the energy that you attract. It's the energy that you bring in. So if you go into a year pussyfooting around, playing small, keeping it chill because you don't want to ruffle feathers, because you don't want people to think that you're being too much, or you're protecting your little ego or whatever, that is exactly the energy that you're going to get back to you. For me, this year, the only thing that's going to be accepted is big, period. And by the way, there's two sides of that coin, right? There's like the big results and the fun big, but then there's also the big lessons and the big work that's required and the big risk that's also part of that too, which I'm fully aware of. But for me, it is time for big. I've had my moments before. The past 2 years have been easing back into motherhood as a new mother of two and, navigating lots of different things. We don't have to get into it, but I'm ready. I'm ready for that. So for you, why I share that with you, it's not because I want you to adopt the word big or think that you need to come up with a word. But if this is where you're at right now, I would invite you to really think about this and really lean in. Some of you may not be here yet, right? Like 2023, going into 23, after like all the things that took place at the end of 2022, I was not ready for big. I was ready for healing, and I was ready for just like implementation, and certainly not big, although I wanted it to be, but I wasn't there yet. So wherever you are, let it be. But if you want big and you're ready for big and you're feeling that energy, that's what I want you to think of, because big equals big, bigger equals bigger, right? So like when you play big, you're going to attract big. When you play bigger, you're going to attract bigger. When you play big AF, same thing. When you play motherfucking big, same thing. All right. So like, it's just kind of up to us how big we want to go, or how small you want to go, which is so in line with this conversation of making a name for yourself, because that's how you want to start thinking of this process. What do you want to create in 2025? What is the overall energy that you want to create? So if you are more so, maybe like big isn't the vibe for you, maybe the vibe is more of balance and security. Great. Okay, cool. So we can like definitely be thinking about that. Like, how can you be more balanced? How can you put out that energy? If you're looking more so maybe to relax And to ease up and have a little bit more fun this year, same thing. All right. But that's where I kind of want to kick off this conversation, because the first thing on our list when we think about making a name for ourselves, which when I say that, all I mean is we're increasing your visibility and we're positioning your brand to be known for what you want to be known for. That's what I mean by that. When I say like make a name for yourself, you're known for what you want to be known for. That's what I mean. And the first thing on that list is like, what do you want to be known for? Right? Like what's the vibe? What's the energy? When people think of you, what is the feeling that you want to evoke? That's what a brand is. A brand is how somebody feels around your body of work or after coming in contact with you. So if what you put out, you attract, then when we're thinking of like you making a name for yourself, we want to think about it in congruence with what it is that you want to attract for the year, because you're ultimately going to attract that thing. If you be bigger, if you act bigger, if you act more balanced, you're going to attract in that. It's all about the embodiment and the integration of you being the walking example of that thing that you want to attract. So again, making a name for yourself simply means increasing visibility and being known for what it is that you want to be known for. So the first step here is, what do you want to be known for? What's the vibe? The way that I think about this myself is I think about like if I were to walk past a group of women and they just so happen to be talking about me. Best case scenario, what would they be saying? Right? Like that's what we want. We don't want to walk by, or I don't know about you. I'll speak for myself here. I don't want to walk by a group of women and them to be like, Allie Reeves, who is she? Or Allie Reeves, she's pretty good. I like her. What does she do again? Okay, yeah, I think I've heard of her. Or Allie Reeves, she's nice. She's nice. I like her. She's really, really nice. I mean, not that I have anything against nice, but that's really helpful information for me, because that is not what I want to be known for. I want to be known for, yes, having amazing energy. And when you come into my world, like feeling really good, that's what I want. But nice isn't exactly what I'm going for. I'm not going for nice. And this is a really important distinction for me. And this is why I put this first, and why I want you to get really clear on this and think about it in this way. Because there are so many people out there who are also attempting to make a name for themselves in their own way, right? So like, let's look at podcasts, for example. I listen to a ton of different podcasts, and they're all different energy, right? Like, for example, I listened to a podcast called Wake the Fake Up with Shervin. I think his last name is pronounced Jafari. He is the guy who made Symbiotica. He's one of the founders or creators. But anyway, I will listen to his podcast sometimes, and it's a spiritual podcast, right? And it's all about like holistic and health and wellness and spirituality. And his energy is very zen. It's very calm. He talks like this. Very even. Very, calm's the word, So like, there are a lot of other podcasts that I listen to where that's the energy of their stuff. And sometimes when I can like listen to a lot of other people's content or get into it and I can love their stuff so much, it has me second guessing of how I show up. Like, gosh, should I be more zen? Should I not curse like they do? Or should I speak more calmly into the mic or whatever, But then on the other end, I also listen to Bitch Bible with Jackie Schimmel. She's a freaking train wreck. and hilarious. And she's been probably the podcast that I listen to the most and the most consistently because she makes me laugh. And it just feels like listening to an unhinged girlfriend speak into a mic. And I love that. She's so funny to me. So my point in saying all this is I realize that especially if you're a little bit more new to creating a brand online, or, I mean, let's be real, we're changing all the time. Our businesses are evolving all the time, whether the, outside brand reflects that or not. I know mine is always shifting and evolving, constantly getting better, and I'm getting more clear about what it is that I do. So anyway, my point is it's really easy when you have an ever-changing brand, which we all do, to get a little caught up in the outside noise with other people that you maybe don't like, whatever, but maybe are successful, and think, shoot, should I be more like them? Should I do it more my way? Now, some people don't really struggle with this. They're very firm in who they are and they don't get swayed too much. For me, this is something that will sway me a lot. And I have a history of overthinking for myself. But I will say, when I think about how I want people to feel around me, I want people to feel on fire. That's what I want, in the best way. I want to inspire you into massive action. I want to shock you into realizing maybe how small you are playing, and convict you to move and do the damn thing, because I've been there. Because I was that woman who heard a podcast and realized, holy shit, I've been glamorizing 6-figure months when I could have 6-figure days, or I could that's just not that there's anything wrong with that, or that's not a great achievement to hit and be proud of. But when you realize what all is available to you, you have that moment like I did. We were like, oh my God, I am asking for pennies in terms of what life can be for myself, right? I want to be that person that wakes women up to their potential and emboldens them and lends them the audacity to fucking go for it. That is what I want, right? So there's no room for I'm nice, right? But I don't care about that. I'm fine to trigger the fuck out of you, as long as you eventually come back around, or you have a moment of awareness later on where you're like, oh, okay, I see why that triggered me, and you come back. Or I don't even care if you come back. I just want you to wake up like I did. That's why I do this work. And, I got the coolest DM the other day. It was such a God wink moment, because I posted, I think it was the last podcast that I posted, the one before this one, I think it was, where I was just in a mood. I was pure luteal phase, and I'm not trying to not take responsibility for my mood. But I was in the trenches of luteal, bitchy. And I was just so annoyed by stupid shit. And I went on the podcast and I just ranted. I gave value, but it was in a very very direct, very ranty way that was not eloquent, and it wasn't nice, right? I was just I just wasn't in the mood to be nice. And that's who I am sometimes. Sometimes the way I give love isn't wrapped in a shiny box all the time. Sometimes the best way that I give love, the best way that I give advice is wrapped, it's a piece of gold wrapped in a nugget of shit, Not saying it's great, not saying it's necessarily right. I probably would get more listeners and maybe help more people if I wrapped it in a pretty box every time, but that's not who I am. Right? That would be inauthentic to me. That would be inauthentic to who I was that day. So anyway, I recorded that episode and I got done and immediately was in a shame, honesty. I had an honesty hangover, and I was like, shoo. But luckily, anyway, it was such a busy week. It was the week of Christmas, and I was tying up so many loose ends with work, and we didn't have our normal nanny situation happening, and I didn't have time to overthink it. I just needed to submit it and move on. And it went live, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, is it too much? Did I go too far? Was I too abrasive? And I got one message from this girl, and I don't even know if she was talking about this episode necessarily, but what she said was so specific. And I was like, I know that this is God wink. I know it is, because she said, I just found your podcast, and I'm paraphrasing here, but she essentially said specifically that she loves how blunt I am and how bold I am with my message. She didn't use the word abrasive, but like that's kind of the vibe that I was getting. She was like, I love how bold and direct you are with your message, while at the same time giving a ton of value. She said, I've never heard another podcast do it that way. And she said, like, it's changed, like, listening to you has changed my life. And I was just like, oh my God, thank you. Thank you, God. Because to me, it was such a message of like, just be who you are, right? Like how I am. And I believe this to my core. I believe how I am to my core, for better or worse, is on purpose. How you are, for better or worse, is on purpose. If you are Zen Zoe, and that's who you are to your core when nobody is watching, you are that person for a reason. Be Zen Zoe. If you are bitchy Brittany, for better or worse, go be bitchy Brittany, right? Like Jackie Schimmel with Bitch Bible Podcast, perfect example of this, and that's why like I feel so aligned with her sometimes, because I'm very much that energy too. It's not lovely. It's not classy. It's really nothing to be proud. I think it is something to be proud of, especially when you can monetize the hell out of it like she has. But when compared to other people who are a bit more buttoned up and clean and eloquent, it can feel like such a stark contrast that if you're not careful, it can have you second guessing yourself. So anyway, all of that to say, the first step of making a name for yourself is, what do you want to be known for? Let this be in alignment with who you actually are. Like, marry the two, let it be perfect. And what feeling do you want to evoke? Do you want people to feel calm and safe and zen? Do you want people to feel as if you're their bestie through and through? Do you want people to feel shocked by you, but also walk away with a ton of knowledge? What is that? And then your job is to continuously show up as that person, right? Through repetition, through your brand, through your content. What is your message? What is the thing? What is the secret sauce that you bring to the table? What is the problem that you solve? What is the problem that you solve for people? Why would somebody want to come to you? I don't want people to say like, oh, Allie, she gives good content tips. She, let's see, she helps me with my launches sometimes. She helps me with my energy. Absolutely not. Like, and I think like where I've gotten thrown off in the past is I'm not more direct and clear about what it is I'm here to help you do, which is to make a lot of fucking money. That's what I'm here to do. A lot of money. My secret sauce is helping create like really incredible, juicy offers and the branding that comes with it and the energy that matches it. But it all boils down to helping you make a shit ton of money, however much you want, whether that's 6 figures a year, 6 figures a day, $1 million day, whatever. I am here to help you be the walking embodiment and example and proof that that is possible, because it is. That's what I want to be known for. What is that thing for you? That's the first step. The second step in making a name for yourself is, once you get clear on that, you double down on it. This is where the being loud comes from. And it's not literally loud, although depending on your brand, maybe it is. It is simply owning it. This is what I'm here to do. I help you make money, bitch. Okay, you want to make some money? Come here, listen to this podcast, watch my content, slide into my DMs. If you're not making the money that you want, or you want to double it, 10x it, whatever, I am your person. When it comes to online business and making money through an online business, I am your girl. Like, that's what I mean. I want you to be that direct, that bold, double down, triple down. There's no place for humble in business. There's just not. There's just not. Be humble as a human, know where you came from, but that you don't have to say that with, it doesn't have to be a caveat every third word that you say, right? Like, if you do good shit, if you're good at what you do, own it, period, end of discussion. Anybody who has a problem with that is stupid. Like, this is a business. I'm not your bestie. I'm not your friend. I am a business. I'm going to be loud and very direct about what it is that I do, because that's my job. It is my job to do that. If you don't get it, I'm sorry, but my job is not to help you understand business 101. That's what high school's for, or community college. I don't know. Okay. So double down. We're going to be loud. We're going to own it this year. No more pussyfooting around. No more. I will not have it. I will not tolerate it with my own stuff and with yours. If I see any of my clients pussyfooting around, I'm calling it out. I mean, I already do this immediately. Like, what's with the caveats? What's with that price point? Like, you know who you are. You know what you want. Go own it. And this is reflected with your message. This is reflected with your energy. This is reflected with your pricing, with everything that you do. We'll go deeper into that next week. And then the third step here is, actually, I'm going to combine third and fourth together. They go together really well, but it's increasing the visibility and overall being consistent, right? This isn't like, you don't just say one time, this is what I'm good at. This is what I'm known for. You don't just show up one time with branded content and expect people to get it. Like, look at let's just go back to the luxury brand examples, right? Hermes, Louis Vuitton, Cartier, Saint Laurent, Gucci, you name it. Go see what year they went in business, how long they've been doing this. I mean, I know there are more current and new luxury brands, but they do not have the same level of appeal and trust and, no doubt, client loyalty than the other ones, because they stand the test of time. Because whether it's a recession or it's the depression or it's a global crisis or whatever, like, they are who they are, and they stay and they figure it out, and they own how good they are, and they hold the energy through and through. That is what makes them, that's what creates a name for themselves. You get to do that too. Even if it's day one on the job. Let's say you've just started your business today. Okay, get comfortable. Lean that seat back, sister. You're not going anywhere for a minute. Your brand will grow and evolve, but this like lukewarm energy, or this hot, cold energy of like, I'm in while it's working and I'm out while it's not. Next. People can see that a mile away, and you will continue to get that energy. If you want hot and cold, if you want inconsistency, be inconsistent. You get what you attract. No. You do get what you attract, but you attract what you give. You attract what you put out. Okay? Do you understand that? You attract what you put out. So if you want loyalty, if you want a name for yourself, consistency is part of that. And then at the same time, when you're ready and you know what it is that you want to do and how you want to do it, and you have that offer, you have that message, now we want to start increasing the visibility. Now we want to turn it up a notch. So organic visibility is wonderful. We love it. And some people have the it factor and have the type of brand and the type of content and strategy that all they need is organic, right? They just they have I know a big piece of this is energy too. You know, when you don't have fears about being seen and you don't have anything funky there that you need to undo and unclog, you will naturally just be seen more, for better or worse. So that's a big part of it. But so anyway, my point in saying that is organic visibility is very nice and will get you far. You can have a multi-million dollar brand just with organic visibility. I can give you 50 examples of people that I know personally who are proof of this, myself included. And you also don't have to sit and wait for the organic content to churn or the organic visibility to take place. You get to pour gasoline on that fire if that's what you want to do. So what this would look like is you could run ads, which is naturally going to increase your visibility. You can hire a publicist or somebody on your team to get you more press, whether that be articles for online publications or literal magazine, book publications, podcast interviews. You could hire somebody to help get you press with podcast interviews and go on a tour in that way and increase your visibility that way. And then, of course, you can do it through your own content by doubling down on that, creating your own podcast, writing your own book. I always think of like when you start a podcast or you write a book, like that is the best way, hands down, to like plant your proverbial flag and say like, this is what I'm here for. This is what I want to be known for. If you want to do that fast, start a podcast. If you want to do that just as strong, if not stronger, but not as fast, write a book. Podcast, you can get a podcast up and going in no time. And I will link my team in the show notes if you're looking for a great team. Amplify Boutique. I've been with them we started in 2019. I've been friends with Kate since high school, and they're incredible, her and Philip. So I will link them if you know that you want to start a podcast this year. Hop on a discovery call with them. They will make it very, very easy for you. I lead people to them all the time. If you're not interested in starting a podcast or writing a book, which is totally fine. You don't like, just because it feels like everybody else is doing it doesn't mean that has to be your thing, but you could host like really exclusive retreats or big retreats or conventions. You know, you can have billboards. There's so many ways that you can advertise and put yourself out there. But think of it as, you know, like you have your organic fire, the fire that's naturally burning when you show up. What would it look like to pour gasoline on that and take that to the next level? Now, I will say when you're doing this, you want to be strategic, right? You wouldn't do this day one because you don't even have a fire to pour gasoline on. And not only that, but when you do this and you are ready to increase that visibility, remember what it is that you're actually doing, right? It sounds so sexy. Yeah, I want to be seen. I want a big following. But what does that mean? That means you have hundreds, thousands, maybe even millions of eyeballs, maybe even billions, depending on the press, of eyeballs on you. Are you ready for that? Is your message ready for that? Is your brand ready for that? So you don't want to mess around and invest a bunch of money in press and visibility or ads or whatever when what people are going to isn't sustainable, you know, or isn't what you want to be known for, right? So we want to get firm, build that foundation first, get in a good place, and then you get to say, okay, do I like the level of business and visibility that we're at? Or do I want to kick it up a notch? So in 2025, playing big for me looks like turning this up a notch. And I'll be sharing more about that. And then again, like I said, being consistent. You know, this isn't like a hot, cold game. This isn't a hobby. Your business is your business. It doesn't have to be the only thing, but it is the thing. This isn't like a fun little thing, little flippant hobby. That's not going to create a name for you. You got to be in it. That's part of the energy piece. Okay. So I want you to create a name for yourself. I want you to be known for what it is that you do. I want you to be the one, the go-to. When people think of X, whatever it is that you do, whether it be real estate, whether it be skincare, whether it be health coaching or branding or graphic design or whatever your thing is, when they think and they're in need of like, oh, I need a copywriter. I'm tired of writing my copy. I want you to be the first person that they think of. And then I want their second thought to be, I wonder if she's taking clients right now. She's so booked and busy. I wonder if I could even get in. That's what I want their second thought to be, right? Like exclusive. That's the vibe that we're going for. You play a really big role in this perception. You control a lot of that perception in so many different ways. And this is just the start. Okay. So I love you. Happy New Year. Happy 2025. I pray this is a year of joy and prosperity and good health and adventure and whatever else that you're looking to call in. And I hope that if you are in a season of wanting to play big, that you choose to do so. And if so, I'll link some opportunities also for you below. I'm linking so many things, but I do have some really cool opportunities. Big, bigger, big AF, and motherfucking big. These are coaching opportunities I've curated through this energy of anybody who is in the space of playing big. So I'll put those below too. But that's all for now. Next week, like I said, we're going to talk about the magic of the details and going full ass embodied in whatever energy that you're wanting to call forth. Okay. I love you. See you next week. Bye.